Want some insider info? NTR, short for Netorare, is one of the most popular tropes in adult media consumption. The cheating tag isn't anything new, but understandably, it's still a sensitive writing device in the fields of anime and manga. And as NTR has become more prominent in manga circles, there's been a significant pushback from the casual fan. Personally, I think cheating is a really interesting trope to have in stories. While I'm not a fan of seeing it be the main point of a series, I think human emotion can be thoroughly explored when viewing the tribulations of monogamy. Batsu Hare, an ongoing romance series in Young Jump, explores the aftermath of an NTR scene and how the male moves on from the infidelity that he's been forced to endure. Authored by Minori Inaba, the story opens up with 35-year-old Ichiro Wako, a salaryman who comes home early on his second wedding anniversary only to be surprised by his wife being nakadashied by a college student. The story then picks up with our hero, downtrodden and depressed after his divorce. His only solace is his career. One day, after finally acknowledging his separation, he tosses his wedding ring over a nearby bridge. There, a coworker of his, Kurumi Shibuya, happens upon him, declaring her affection towards the main character, and reveals some tropey and devastating news that will either spiral Ichiro into further depression or help him finally move on from his ex-wife. Batsu Hare is so generic. There's nothing really unique here, TBH. The story isn't gripping in the early chapters, and the art isn't impressive. The way the paneling is laid out and how the characters are drawn remind me so much of Kodama Naoko's work. I wonder if Inaba is influenced by them? I wouldn't be surprised because Batsu Hare is so similar to NTR Netsuzo Trap. You would think that Shueisha higher-ups basically plucked a trashy doujin artist from the pack and instructed them to create their own spin on that manga. Which is fine, Batsu Hare is entertaining enough. If you can power through the first 5 or so chapters without squealing at how corny it all is, you'll start to see a real relationship develop between Ichiro and Kurumi. Mind you, Kurumi doesn't have much of a personality, and her existence is solely to be a public toilet for Ichiro. So, what's the draw here then? Aside from the nudity, which there is a decent amount of, and the tasteful sex scenes, which there are an overabundance of, Batsu Hare promises a greater story underneath all the filth. I came up in an era where School Days, albeit trashy, was known for an interesting portrayal of a typical male lead who eventually takes full command of his sexuality and conquers those around him. We'd see an excess of that sort of character in the dark fantasy and isekai series to follow with the next few decades. Makoto and Kirito are two sides of the same coin, and Ichiro is the latest in that mold. As he regains his confidence in his masculinity, he becomes much more assertive and daring. The usually square Ichiro and stoic Kurumi are unable to contain their urges and engage in public sexual activity with one another often. Through this, you see glimpses of Ichiro's relationship with his ex, and the reader, in typical NTR fashion, has to decide if they sympathize with the cucked lead or if they place the fault of the failed relationship on Ichiro, possibly thinking that he deserved the infidelity. Batsu Hare is nothing groundbreaking, but it is a series that promises to be much more than it already is. Shueisha is going in an interesting direction with their magazines this decade. With Kaguya-sama now finished, Young Jump is shifting their focus on pushing trashy, sex-fueled drama and comedy. Boys Abyss, Oshinoko, 100 Whore Girlfriends, Kubo are all very different in vibe to what they were publishing only a decade ago. And this drastic change falls in line with Weekly Shonen Jump and Jump Plus's shift in focus as well. If Batsu Hare sticks, I'd be very interested in seeing how it continues to develop its plot and shine a light on the very complicated yet interesting topic that is cheating. Batsu Hare is pretty trash, but it's fun. If you fuck with Scum's Wish, Ciguatera, Domestic Girlfriend, Boys Abyss, Holiday Love, you'll know what to expect with this one. 5 out of 10.